Hey, good afternoon. It's Randy Fling here on Tech Tuesdays with a very special guest. It's Dr. Carolyn Pitt, rather. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Great. We've got an exciting show. Everybody's going to learn some new things. We're going to talk about a few things in our privacy like we always do just to keep everybody on their toes. We're going to talk a little bit about the events that are upcoming over the next couple of weeks that you should attend if you're interested, of course. And we're going to learn a whole lot more about Film Connx. Is that the correct way to say Connx?
That is Film Connx. You got it.
So let's jump right in. Again, I'm Randy Fling, your host, which I don't think I said. And I'm a guy who loves all things tech. I'm a Georgia Tech graduate who attends many demos, tech shows, pitch competitions, hears from a lot of people in the industry. I'm definitely a blockchain guy who believes that's the direction we're all going. I also believe that, as I've said, usually women entrepreneurs in the tech space are the ones who are going to, carry a whole lot of the weight that they haven't previously carried. So anyway, we'll get right to it. Again, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. We were talking earlier, it's not quite snowing.
Right.
It's good to be inside with you.
Atlanta has a fake snow shutdown. For those of you who aren't in Atlanta, they were supposed to snow for 2 hours, which didn't even happen, and so they shut the state government, the city government.
So I have a strong background in management consulting, business development, and executive placement. So done a number of different things, and just like a big Seinfeld episode, it all kind of works together in the end to get me ready for the new challenge that I've got with Film Connx.
So let's talk about how did you get to technology? How did you get to this platform?
It's a great question. So first I'll say that Film Connx is a platform that's specifically for film professionals. It's both a job marketplace and a social community. And you're right, I don't have an engineering background. Decided to build the platform and knew that I needed to get some expertise and take my idea to the next level. So I decided to incubate it. So there's an incubator in town called Digital Undivided. They have a big incubator, and I got into their program and spent 10 months building my platform with like-minded peers, other Black and Latinx women who also were building technology companies, and surrounding ourselves by experts who could.
How big is Digital Undivided? And how many applications do they accept normally? Do you know?
So yeah, they see hundreds of applications. Our cohort just graduated 9 women, and as a matter of fact, cohort 4 is they're accepting applications right now. So, and this year we're expanding from Atlanta to Newark. Both those cities will have cohort 4 members in them. So if you are a woman with an idea, whether you're an engineer or a technologist or not, I encourage you to apply because you have all that you need within you, and you can get the additional skills and the team to help you build it if you're accepted into the program.
Great. No, I preach. I know last week we had somebody on who had been in the Comcast incubator program up at the Battery here in Atlanta. But there's incubators around the country. Obviously, Atlanta is the new, we believe, East Coast epicenter for technology, and we're busy proving that out, people, for those of you who don't live in Atlanta. But certainly there are a lot of them here, and I've always suggested, and I suggest that you get in one. In lieu of that, if you have a business and you're starting it up, any kind of business, not just technology, the next closest thing is really make sure that you formulate a board of advisors and or a board of directors that you can meet with every 90 days that actually hold you accountable to what you're doing. Because I'm sure that's one of the big benefits of being in an incubator or in a program like Digital Undivided. The people are holding you accountable. They're not taking your word for things. You're going to prove out that the market is there for the product that you have, and that you're the person who can actually lead a team to get it there, on some level.
That's absolutely right. And on the note that you made about us being the epicenter of tech for the Southeast, and I would even say for the country, we're on our
Definitely
way.
the east of the Mississippi or whatever,
It's true. It's true. We really have a thriving ecosystem. I actually also completed another program at Atlanta Tech Village called the It Takes a Village program, and it too provided advisors and mentors. And you're right. You need to have people with expertise to hold you accountable, and to make sure that you have the information that you need to keep building and keep challenging yourself to make your platform bigger and stronger and better populated.
Read a recent article from Harvard Business Review, and they talk about even as you're going to scale your business, and do you understand even as it relates to regulation and the role it plays, and when is the time for you to engage with policymakers,
right?
Things of that nature. Because in technology, it generally moves faster than policy. So you either get involved with it while the policies are being made, or you get knee-jerk reactions, which is normally, things are great for you for 3 or 4 years as you're scaling up your business, and suddenly the regulations come in and shut you down, basically. They'll do something that they'll change that literally, takes you completely off course and catches you unaware, rather than you being involved in a way that makes sense while policies are being decided. If you're out there on the edge and doing things that really haven't been done, and the intellectual property, coming back to what you spoke on and being involved in, be conscious of that. Think about, how do you, because you don't want regulations to come unexpectedly, or regulations that are knee-jerk and hurt your business. So
I think you do have to be very proactive. And with Film Connx, we make sure that we remain very active in the film community. We've just had a new administration come into office, new governor, and making sure that he and his administration know how important film is to the state of Georgia.
Correct.
That we want to keep the tax credit. We want to keep attracting Hollywood, New York, and other folks to bring their films here and shoot them, produce them, post-production. Everything should occur here in our state. So that's part of what we're all about.
Great. So let's keep going down that road. Tell us what inspired you to start.
It's a great question. So I've always been a connector by nature. So I've always connected friends who should know one another, complete strangers who should know one another. And initially used to be very surprised that people didn't have a strong network or didn't know how to access the people that they should know. I realize everybody has different talents, and that's just one that I think I have always had. And I decided to use it in entertainment because we have a booming ecosystem here, but still quite analog. There are pockets of events and people and great things going on in entertainment all over our state, and specifically here in Atlanta. People don't really know about it. And so there's an opportunity to really bring that energy into our current century, make sure that it's digital, make sure that people can find one another, they can know about events, they can reach out and collaborate and be able to work together. And that's part of what Film Connx does, is it helps to create a sense of community and bring it online.
Okay, well, good. So I understand why you started. I know there's a Georgia Entertainment. I mean, there are organizations in the state and in the city, but I know what you said. I think they're not really together in a digital manner. So tell us what is Film Connx?
Yeah. So it is a social community, and very importantly, it's a job marketplace.
Okay.
So really, part of the genesis was realizing, both from practicing law in entertainment and IT, and also writing some content myself, there's a lot of productions that are coming to Atlanta, to Savannah, and other parts of Georgia. And there are, of course, a lot of local studios and producers making work here, but it might surprise folks to know that although we're the #1 feature film destination in the world, many local crew members aren't working on the productions.
Right.
Many and remoting in folks, distant hire crew from other places, and there's opportunity for a local crew to actually get more work here. And there's ways of doing that, and that really sparked my interest in figuring out how to resolve that issue.
Got it. So is it an app? Is it web-based?
It's web-based with an app currently under development. And so right now, studios can select crew who are vetted, who are on our site.
Okay.
And they actually experience significant savings because they're not spending the approximately $5,000 a month that they would pay to someone that they're bringing in from another state for per diem, for
Per
housing.
diem, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
and for travel, they can hire locally somebody who's vetted, who knows how to do the job and has done it before, and they can expand their network to make sure that they can hire them again and hire other folks in the network. And for the crew, it's finding consistent and viable work opportunities, which are harder to come by than people realize, because even if folks are working, they're always thinking about that next job.
Right.
So being able to search for, be matched to, and be hand-selected by producers and studios, that's part of why crew are coming to the site.
Great. Who pays for it?
Yeah.
Every business has a revenue model. Where does the money come from?
The money comes from subscriptions. It's a subscription marketplace, and from commissions in the job marketplace. So the crew are not paying.
Okay.
It is free for them to apply to be considered as Film Connx crew, and they can search for jobs for free as well.
Great. No, that's important.
It's a good question.
It's you know, I tell people a great idea is great only if there's some money somewhere
There's got to
that's
be some
going
money.
to allow it to, you know, scale and be long term and survive out here in the world.
That's right.
Yeah, we all know attorneys don't work for free. So
Sometimes we do pro bono, but this is not pro bono.
So it's hard to keep an attorney focused on something if there's not some money at the end of the rainbow. And I think in our community we all need to be a little bit easier talking about money. You know, money's not a bad word. I know people. You know, it's funny. You know, people say a lot of different things about money. They talk about the different roles of government. It's really just business, who it's not for, things that sometimes black people should go do instead, and these things. And, you know, I am a capitalist, you know, and, you know, until I leave America and go somewhere else, which I don't currently have a plan to do, I'm going to remain a capitalist because that is really what makes things happen in this country. You can either,
One must have money.
one must have money, you know, even if your cause is helping puppy dogs, you can't help them without no money. You can have one or two.
But then you run out of
But
capacity.
But you can't, you know, you have no more capacity. Money is the only thing that really gives you, and obviously power of different types, which can be influence or other things, is all, and, you know, policy. The government spends more money than anybody. And so
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
policymakers there, those obviously have power. But to scale yourself from just the efforts that you can do into something bigger requires either governmental or private, which is AKA capital, to actually influence the world in a better way, hopefully.
That is correct. That is
So,
correct.
I say that just because I think it's real important. I think sometimes in our homes we don't teach our children about the value of money, the value of credit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, and then by the time you get in business, if you still have a lot of, like, if you've got bad credit and it's time to get in business, that's one more obstacle you've got to overcome before you're going to be able to scale your business.
That's right.
I mean, it's not too many ways around it. And so you should think about it before you're ready for the business, or as soon as you start thinking about that, you should also, you know, get real serious about repairing your personal credit so that you can move yourself and your business forward, because that's the accountability that people are looking for sometimes, you know, investors and even the other people that want to work with you. If they know your car just got repossessed,
It's not a
even
good
though
look.
it's not a good look. They might have that same
Yeah.
vision as you, but they're like, I don't know if this is the person that can lead me.
That's right.
And they're not really leading their own life in that way. So just a suggestion from years in business that I give to anybody. Let's ask this. Who do you have on your team? Do you have a team yet?
I do. We currently have 5 members.
Okay.
4 here in Georgia and 1 in North Carolina.
Great.
And we stay very busy.
Now, tell me some of the keys things you use when you're putting together, you know, especially that core team
Yeah.
that you know, hopefully can take you to the next level and the level after that.
You know, it's true. You've got to find people who are committed to the idea, and especially with a startup, making sure they understand that sometimes the riches might be a little farther down the road. So they've got to believe in the vision and the mission, and be just as passionate and enthusiastic about the business as I am. And really, I see myself as working my way out of my role. So number 1, finding who complements me, who has skills that maybe I don't have, or that strengths that aren't mine, because we all come to the world with different talents. And then, you know, figuring out right now as the CEO, I'm probably wearing 15 hats, finding someone who can wear a hat or two just as well so that I can focus on the other 13 hats. So
Got it. And you said even someone who can replace you. So that's what you mean, replace some of the roles
in one of
that you're
those
playing.
roles. That's right. So someone who can do sales and business development. Someone, I will always have a role in strategy and in sales, but product lead. It's important to have a product lead, somebody with an engineering background who can actually make sure the platform is doing what it's meant to do. Social media, someone who is capable and knows a lot about how to really drive the brand strategy forward in traditional and social media. So having people who have that expertise is really critical.
Great. I remember Ray J came to our Rolling Out Innovation in Digital Entertainment conference, and that was one of the things he said on stage. He's like, the person interviewing him called him the CEO. He said, "Oh, that's not me." He was real quick to say, "There's somebody else who can do that better. I'm the chief marketing and chief social and chief," I forget the exact title, but he said, "Yeah, it's called Raycom, but
Right.
I'm not. But I'm not the CEO." He's saying people don't need to be hung up on that, and I agree.
That's right.
That's not always everybody's skills. And I personally have experience with people who, it's not their skill, but sometimes they're the founder, they just don't want to let it go. They can't see it that way, which is why advisors and board of directors are sometimes good for people, because when you have a chorus of people telling you the same thing, sometimes people will listen better.
That's right.
That their role, that they can be more valuable to the organization, and the organization can go further. I think Ray J just sold out, though. I think I saw that recently.
Yes, and
Made a
his
bunch of
scooter
money.
business is
Because
doing
he sold the scooter business.
ridiculously well.
But I don't
Yes.
know if that included the, he's got the headphones and the other electronics. And I always wondered about that. I have to ask him next time, because it's Raycom, but the president's name has Ray in it also.
That's probably not a coincidence.
Yes, I don't know which Ray it was. And he has an electronics background. His
Right.
family's from across the water. But they have a good partnership. They both seem happy when I met them both, and that they've been able to work together. And someone else mentioned that to me recently about joint venturing and people working together, and that for our community to really scale past where it is, that we've got to consider much stronger joint partnerships and joint venture with people, so that we can, again, scale and the ability to scale much faster. So, let's see, what's next? We talked about your team.
Can I tell you how we're different from some of the competitors out there?
I want you to do that, but I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take our break a little bit early before we jump into that. So it's break time. We'll be right back in 2 minutes, and then that'll be right where we'll jump in at.
Fantastic.
Telling us a little bit how you're different, how you've been able to distinguish yourself, and more importantly, how you distinguish yourself moving forward as others duplicate your model. Because in technology, you should assume there will be 3 imitators. If not, you probably don't really have a business. Someone else is going to see it and try to do it, if it's a good business model.
We can talk about that after the break.
See you in 2 minutes.
What if I told you it was okay to be different? Or it's better to hustle more than you talk? Or that it doesn't matter what people think of you because nobody asked them for their opinion in the first place? Introducing Outspoken Clothes, the in-your-face, unapologetic clothing line. Check us out at outspokenclothes.com and sign up for our newsletter to get exclusive deals. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Outspoken Clothes.
Hey everyone, it is your favorite politician, Representative Erica Thomas, and I'm excited to tell you about the Erica Thomas Show, where we break down news and politics in layman terms where everybody can understand it. We start off the show with hip hop and politics, where we might interview your favorite celebrity and we break down hip hop and let you know that it's the same thing as politics, baby. And also coming up after that, we have kids and politics, where we bring on your favorite kid stars and they tell us all about how they feel about politics. And then right after that is the hit list, where we tell you about the fails of the week. Who failed this week in the news and who do we need to know about? It's all happening at 6 o'clock every single Tuesday. I said 6 o'clock every single Tuesday. So you better tune in. You better tune in. You better not miss it. I mean, you better not miss it. The Erica Thomas Show is on live.
And we're back. Thank you for joining us for our second segment of Tech Tuesdays with Randy Fling. I'm here with my beautiful guest, Carolyn Pitt, today, who's also super smart, a lawyer, IP lawyer, and has a fantastic company going.
Thank you very much, Randy. Excited to be here with you.
Film Connx. So those of you just joining us, our company is Film Connx. It's based here in Atlanta, but it'll I'm sure be duplicated and scaled up to many more cities really soon. And just briefly, for anybody who's just joining us, tell us a little bit about what it does, and then we'll get into what separates it.
Yes, absolutely. So Film Connx is a job marketplace and a social community specifically for film. For those who aren't in Georgia, you may not realize that #1 feature film destination in the world is Georgia. We've got a ton of production work going on here in town. However, many local crew members aren't working on as many of those productions as they should be statistically. Film wages are $140 billion nationwide. Here in Georgia, it's $4.6 billion. So it doesn't really match up because you figure the numbers should be higher since there's so much activity in the state. And that's largely because local crew aren't making the relationships and being selected at the high percentage that they should be. And Film Connx helps with that by connecting crew with producers and producers with crew and studios as well.
Excuse me. So tell me a little bit about what makes it different and unique than me going to, I'm sure there's other places that probably have jobs, from Craigslist to a million other places that have jobs listed, and I would think there's others. So maybe you'll tell us even who your competitors or who you see as competitors in the space.
So what I will tell you, you're correct, there are other places that post jobs, and that's part of the challenge, is that they're posted all over the place. There's really no one aggregate place where you can find all of the jobs in one location. And what we found from our customer discovery is that the existing job boards aren't effective. Many people had either gotten no jobs or maybe one job 3 years ago. And so part of what makes us different is individuals, crew members can apply to be considered as Film Connx crew, and if accepted, now your profile is on the site and your IMDb link is there. You can put a sizzle reel. You're easily findable, and suddenly now you come to life and people can see why they might want to work with you. We also make sure that we can provide a diverse slate. So women and people of color are underrepresented in the industry, the film industry. That's not a surprise, I'm sure.
Right.
And this is a way to make sure that the Time's Up, Me Too, Oscars So White movements, this is a response to that as well. Because if studios and producers say they want to diversify, now they can. Now they can actually find women and folks of color who can be both above the line and below the line crew members, and they can find them easily. And we have a social community. So the fact that people can now socialize and connect and talk about events and find people that they know from other productions, there's nothing like that out there at this point either. So our site does both things, both social and job marketplace.
No, that is unique, and it's an interesting topic you hit upon when we talk about diversity in tech. And there is a lot going on in diversity in tech because we have so far to go.
We do.
I think, unfortunately, our community has been so far behind from the employment side, the contract side, the training side, the degree side, the management side, etc. within diversity. And even good or bad, most of the diversity people I've met that have relatively high positions in technology companies, they're not technologists. And that's not a bad thing, but it also shows that the pipeline through the industry that we're talking about, which is technology, is not nearly as strong as it needs to be. Because over time, that's what people want at the top, a person who understands technology, if it's a technology business. And not that a CEO doesn't have to have a lot of other skills and gain skills, but I think for our community, we need to continue to push through STEM as well as in the other areas. And then I think people in other industries, be it human resources, those kinds of things, need to think about tech companies in a different way and understand that those companies still need their skills, even though they're tech companies, to make ourselves available. So I like what you're doing with film. We probably need to do it with some more things. And you probably have thought of some other industries that might apply very similar.
Yeah, and you raised some great points about STEM and making sure that we have the skills and that we're encouraging young people to consider roles that are non-traditional, that we haven't seen as many women or folks of color partake in. One additional point that's really important is funding as well. Mm-hmm. And so there's a study that was just released a little over a year ago by Project Diane is the study, and it showed that venture capital dollars are only going to black women. 0.2% was the amount of funds that had gone to black women tech
black
founders.
People total, I want to say, is
it's still
percent.
Low double digits, yeah.
1, 2, 3, maybe.
And so it's important that the funding be provided to be able to grow the company and scale at the right point in time. But everything isn't bleak. I will say that we're seeing tremendous growth in women-owned companies and in black women-owned companies. Just from 2007 to 2018 alone, 58% increase in women-owned companies was experienced, and it's 164% for black women. So we are building companies at 3 times the rate of other women. And it's funny, I heard something that made me laugh the other day, and it said being an entrepreneur is like jumping off a cliff and building the plane on the way down. And then as a black woman, doing it with napkins and toothpicks. And it's true, we will make it happen. We will find the tools that we need and bring it together.
And I will say to everybody listening, a tech business is very different in general than many other businesses. If you open a store, you will get some revenue the next day, hopefully. You spend a little money, get your products, put them on the shelf, somebody buys. You go outside, even if you scream, put on a board yourself, but somebody, you'll get some revenue. It won't be what you want, but you at least then get a pattern, you can build upon it, you can do your marketing, you have something to sell. Most technology businesses don't have anything to sell for a year, 2 years. I would say 2 years is probably more average before you have a product that you can sell. And that's why the VC money, the angel money, the crowdfunding for money has to be center in your mind when you're starting that business, because you're not going to make it 2 years with, the people who like what you're doing, they're going to support you, but they're only going to support you so far.
Well, because
they're not going to become full-time employees to do the things you need to get done, and nobody's getting paid. Not going to happen.
Well, that too, and because you're right, there are a lot of different ways to fund a company, and the traditional understanding is that a friends and family round will get you part of the way there, but in our communities, not all of us have. In fact, most of us, I would say, don't have a friends and family round, and so it's about being creative. It's about crowdfunding, like you said. It's about other entrepreneurs understanding the struggle, seeing the spark, and becoming angel investors themselves. So lots of ways around it.
And as dire as this sounds, we're used to crowdfunding for funerals. That's a sad thing to say, and I hate to say it, but most of us in our family have, if you're the older you get anyway, maybe children and teenagers don't understand it yet, but you may not have known, but somebody in your family passed without insurance, and the family did a crowdfund to do a proper funeral for that person. So, but we are not used to being investors. We are, and I made this suggestion a few weeks ago. There are several places you can go. One is called Start Engine, Republic. These are places where people are doing crowdfunding. I suggest that whether you're planning on starting a business or not, that you go to these places, look at the types of businesses and the businesses that are raising money, the amounts that they're raising. And I suggest, if you've got $500, that you actually invest in one. Become a shareholder. Get the feeling of what it means. They'll communicate with you. They're required to. Most of them aren't liquid, so I'm not suggesting 5,000. That it's a long-term investment, but it'll teach you and train you, and do it for your child. If you've got a young child, let them go to the site. Talk about it with them. Explain what investing is. Put the 500 in their name or in a joint account. I guess you're probably required to, and see how that company grows or fails. But you'll at least learn the process. You'll see the process. You may, 5 years. People talk about, I wish I had invested in Apple, or Facebook, or Google. Well, before they became public,
right,
and made 100 times what your investment was, there are people who had already made 100 times their investment before it ever went public, which now, and this is a brand new, really, over the last couple of years, and it was signed into law by President Obama. Thank you very much. The Jobs Act that allows any person to be able to invest small amounts of money into companies that aren't so big and already so established, and gives every person in the country who understands capitalism and believes in it an opportunity to actually put, and it can be as little as $200 or $300. Most of them have minimums that start at like $350, $250 that you can put in, and now you're a shareholder. You can watch the process, learn the process, because hopefully, you might be a part of that process and doing the same thing for yourself if you're planning on starting a business these days.
And it is a mind shift, you're right, to think of yourself and your children as investors, and in feeding back into the community. And on that point, there was actually an opportunity for to be an investor of sorts on Thursday here in Atlanta. As you know, the Super Bowl is in town.
Right.
So there's a lot of activity, a lot of people who are in town. There's an event called Culture Shock, which is going on at the Ambient Studio, and 3 entrepreneurs and a board of other folks.
Where's
that
the
are working
Ambient
with
Studio?
them. It's in the West End.
Oh, okay.
They've put this event together to showcase 15 Black-owned companies.
Okay.
And it's also a party for the Black tech community, so we can celebrate these folks. And the admission to get into the party actually is fed back into supporting these businesses. And Film Connx is fortunate to be one of the businesses that will be there. So,
congratulations.
thank you.
I just heard about it a few days ago. Now
Yeah.
that you mentioned it, so now that I know, I'm going to be there.
Excellent.
I'm going to be a part of it for sure. If I had known, maybe I'd have shifted my show and we'd have done live from there this week.
Well,
So
maybe
we'll
there's
see.
still an opportunity. But for now, cultureshock.tech
Oh, yeah.
will tell you the information.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I suggest that for those who are in Atlanta or close or coming in for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Please, while you're here, check that out. Stay connected to this community. There are Sir Thrive is some way to stay in communication. He does a lot of things in our community, and I think he has an event. Justin, he has an event this week also. So
A lot
there
of
are
good things going
a
on,
couple of specific events in our community going on this week. A couple more questions for you. What advice would you give to someone who is starting their own business in the technology space?
I would say research. Research, you will be surprised at what's out there. So I've already mentioned 2 programs that I participated in. There are countless other ones scattered across the country. There are grants, other possibilities to get some seed funds. There's some online accelerators and incubators if your family situation or financial situation means that you can't pick up and move to California as some of these accelerators require. But research and be open to finding out from other founders what was helpful to them. You'll find that most of them are actually really interested in helping others to become successful founders as well.
Got it. So you have launched, and
I
you're
have.
web-based now.
Yes.
When do you anticipate being an app?
We'll be an app by Q2.
Okay.
But for now, people can find us on www.filmconnx.com. And if you're a crew member, feel free to apply to become Film Connx crew. Even if you're not a crew member and you just are interested in film and want to talk to other people who are, you can still be a part of our social community. So same website to be able to do both things.
What do you as a founder see as an optimal growth rate that you'd like to see for your business? I mean, there's always the easy answer, I want to be a billionaire tomorrow. But what do you see as an optimal growth rate, for your business?
I won't throw any numbers out, but what I will say is, so this is it's a company that has really high growth potential. The entertainment industry is high yield. There's a lot of money that's being wasted that should be retained here in our state. And although we're focusing just on Georgia, we are going to scale to select cities as well. So I'll just leave it there. I won't give you any numbers right now.
Okay. You know, and I put that out there for a couple of reasons. One is it's good to know what people are thinking, but it's also good to know as you scale. You know, it kind of related back to my question as it related to regulation, as it relates to knowing the policymakers in place. Because as you go to adding cities and become national, you know, we all think the internet is already national, you know, because it's an app that's there. Of course, in your case, it's very specifically for Atlanta right now, or for Georgia. But it's just one of the things to keep in mind. When
It is.
say what's a reasonable growth rate, and what can some companies, and the other thing I think that I've talked to some founders about, and they think because it's a tech company that as it grows, well, the technology just has to grow, but I don't have to add that many more people.
Oh, that's not true at all.
Sometimes you find out that, you know what, and it's not the same as a grocery store. You don't have to add as many people. I mean, obviously the proportion is very different, but you definitely have to keep in mind that it will not run itself.
It will not. It will not. And one thing that I'll add as a follow-on is, although we're focusing on Georgia, we actually have relationships in California and New York. There are jobs for other parts of the country, but we are laser focusing here, and we'll expand when the time is right. Because I think another mistake that people make is trying to do too many things at once rather than being extremely good at one or two things and then growing when it makes sense to do so.
Got it. Well, you've got enough people in California in order
You do.
so when they come,
That's right.
they're the ones who will be placing the people here locally. They'll be
right.
saving the money.
They will be saving lots and lots
They'll
of money.
save a lot, and the people here will be very happy to have an opportunity to to get jobs here in Atlanta. So,
And on that point, it's about the jobs and about the income, but it's also about getting really the next opportunity. Because in the industry, you're as good as your last job and the connections you made there in terms of getting the next one. So being able to build your credits is really important. So it's economic development and then also career advancement.
do you work with any? It's funny you mentioned economic development. I know the city has a film commission director,
do.
and I think in the state as well.
They do.
So, do you work with them?
At this point, we're talking, we're not working together just yet.
Okay.
But there's opportunity there. There's actually a number of entities doing some great work in the film space, and a lot of interest right now in coalescing and having much more of a coalition so that we can all work together as opposed to pulling in separate directions. So we're part of that effort as well.
Well, great. I think those will be probably really good opportunities for you as you move forward. I think
so.
because, they know about things you don't know about.
That's
So
right.
I'm sure the state commission and possibly the city of Atlanta, in their travels and in their work that they're doing on behalf of the citizens and on behalf of the businesses here, it's their job to know some more people from
Absolutely.
California and all these other places. And if they tap you in properly, it can be a very beneficial thing. So we're about to wrap up this segment. And what I want to tell everybody is please don't go anywhere, because in 2 minutes when we come back, we're going to give you announcements on a whole lot of other events that are happening over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks here in Atlanta and other markets. And then we'll come back to what we're talking about.
Excellent.
Some more tips. Oh, say that again?
Put your question.
Put your questions in the comment section on Facebook, and we'll be happy to, myself or Carolyn, we will answer your questions. Thank you.
See you in 2.
So is it set up like?
Hey everyone, it is your favorite politician, Representative Erica Thomas, and I'm excited to tell you about the Erica Thomas Show, where we break down news and politics in layman terms where everybody can understand it. We start off the show with hip hop and politics, where we might interview your favorite celebrity and we break down hip hop and let you know that it's the same thing as politics, baby. And also coming up after that, we have kids and politics, where we bring on your favorite kid stars and they tell us all about about how they feel about politics. And then right after that is the hit list, where we tell you about the fails of the week. Who failed this week in the news? And who do we need to know about? It's all happening at 6 o'clock every single Tuesday. I said 6 o'clock every single Tuesday. So you better tune in. You better tune in. You better not miss it. I mean, you better not miss it. The Erica Thomas Show is on live.
30 million people have been diagnosed with diabetes and 75 million with high blood pressure. Let's talk about the importance of cleaning the blood. 50 years of scientific research have shown that garlic, when taken in the right amount, can help to lower blood pressure, sugar level, and cholesterol, all while providing energy. How? Through cleansing, regulating, and replenishing the blood. Garlic alone is powerful, but for over 41 years, we've discovered that by combining garlic, aloe, and parsley together, we help the body to clean the blood even better. You can clean excess sugar, cholesterol, and waste from the blood and promote better circulation. So don't delay. Do it today. Get your bottle of GAP pills. Normally sells for $49.95, but if you use the promo word HEALTH, you get $10 off. Visit us at aloeheals.com or call us at 404-996-6942.
We're back on Tech Tuesdays with Randy Fling and my wonderful guest today, Dr. Carolyn Pitt. We're having a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us. For those of you who are just joining, thanks for joining. Those who waited for our commercial in between, thank you for coming back.
Absolutely. Welcome back.
Great. This segment, we always start out, we give you some announcements of events going on around the country. Then we'll come back to Film Connx, which, by the way, is FILMCONNX.
Very good.
For
That's
those
right.
who have been listening earlier, get it right. So I've got here IBM Think. It's going on February 12th to February 15th in San Francisco. You can come out, sharpen your skills, get hands-on experience with the latest technology, extend your professional network into one of the world's most celebrated communities of technologists and thought leaders, and have some fun while you're at it. I don't know the cost, but it's ibm.com/events/think. So if you go there, you'll see. We've got one called Melanin Motivation, January 30th. That is Thursday. No, that's tomorrow. Wow. Okay, from 6 to 9 here in Atlanta at the Flatiron School, 1175 Peachtree Street. Join us for a workshop that includes panel Q&A with some incredible techies discussing the state of black tech in Atlanta. Are you going to be there by chance?
I might just.
You might just.
Yeah.
I might just,
That
I
sounds
think.
great.
It does. We've got hands-on learning sessions, an intro to HTML, CSS, networking mixer to finish the night, including games and prize raffles. So if you've ever even thought about trying out the tech industry, this is the event for you. Come out, and it's right there in the heart of Midtown. Flatiron School. You know, I thought about the Flatiron Building, which is downtown. But this is the Flatiron School.
Is it
at
not in the Flatiron Building?
No,
No, it's
1175 Peachtree would put us. I think that's Colony Square. I'm 9. I was anyway. I think that's
you're right.
Colony Square.
Yeah.
So, yes, which is good. Food, fun, drinks. Just need you and your laptop. So bring your laptop. Eventbrite. So go on Eventbrite. Look up Melanin Motivation, MELANIN Motivation, and your tickets are limited. So
act quickly.
Cost, but act quickly.
Yeah.
Microsoft Ignite, we've mentioned it before, it's February 4th and 5th in DC. You can explore the latest developer tools and cloud technologies, learn how to put your skills to work in new areas. If you'd like to register, go to Microsoft, it's the long one, Microsoft.com/ENUS Ignite. Google Microsoft Ignite, it will come right up. Plug for your city, because it is a tour and it's in multiple cities, and register for it. We got this. New issue here. Google faces new privacy battle in Illinois. So I read an article yesterday
Yeah.
that 2 people have sued Google for using their face without their permission.
Interesting.
State of Illinois, once again, regulation. I think we started talking about that
Right.
earlier. But Google uses your face, even if you don't really give it permission, in multiple ways. It'll take pictures that other people took of you. It'll put it in for your profile. It will do things with your face. Well, then it'll know your face is protected because it's your face, and if you don't give people permission to go use it, then they're not allowed to. So a judge recently ruled that the case can move forward, and the early reviews are that that law is real specific. It gives real specific rights that at this point it looks like Google has violated, intentionally or unintentionally, because again, they're not looking at every, and I don't say this to indict Google by any means, because I don't think that they looked at every state law as they did the things that they did and the programs they've employed into their apps. So I say this to say, as a business that's not nearly as big as Google, when you do your business, because you're doing things nationally, because anything you do on the internet is international, and if just one person from somewhere, joins your social media and joins your group and does something, but it is actually in violation of a state law where they live, you actually have opened yourself up to a suit without thinking about it.
The same thing actually just happened to Google last week. They violated the GDPR, which is a European law. And so you're right. When you have a business that's on the internet, you've got to worry about domestic and international laws. You've got to know them and not run afoul, or you will pay lots of money.
Right.
So there's that.
Right. So again, sometimes I think companies do these things as it relates to facial recognition and a lot of other things totally, my opinion, behind the door. They put it in the page 32 of 49 pages of fine print when you sign up and agree to take the apps.
Yeah.
Nothing against Facebook, but they'll never have their app on my phone. I read it. I actually took the time like 10 years ago, and I read it. And I go, oh my God, I can't put this on my phone. Now, unfortunately, Apple and Google probably have just as much of that same information now, through other apps and through their own apps. And I think I mentioned it last week that 90% of the apps in the Google Play Store are still sending information to Facebook, believe it or not. They're receiving it because the data's, and some of them that are a real problem, even before you agree to their terms and conditions, they have actually sent your data out. And again, these areas of the law will continue to see problems. We'll continue to see people feel their privacy has been invaded. And most people just have assumed that their privacy is gone. They agree to everything. And, I don't know that that's a good thing. I understand it, but I personally don't think it's a good thing over time. So what's your opinion on that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what you said. I won't opine too much on what folks should and shouldn't think about Facebook, but I do think you have to be really careful with your image, with your thoughts, and know that anything you put on the internet will stay there. Even if it's taken down, there's always going to be some sort of footprint. So just be sure you're representing yourself and your business, if you have one, in the ways that you want it to be represented, because it's really hard to reverse that if you say the wrong thing.
The internet has a very long memory.
It does.
Ask Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Who's now running for president. 20 years ago, her affair with what was then a state leader in the General Assembly of California.
I know nothing of that, but I saw her last night on CNN, and she's amazing.
She's amazing. Yeah. But, now that all of a sudden, now that she has announced herself as a presidential candidate, the background stuff comes out. It was hinted at previously, but now it's like the person she had the affair with, they kept knocking on his door so many times, national media, that he came out a day or two ago and said, yes, we had an affair when I was married 20 years ago, and it helped her. I appointed her to several positions on state boards, etc., and it probably did help her political career.
Well, we'll see, because obviously some precedence has been set with our current president, who has an interesting checkered past of his own, and it doesn't seem to have impacted him negatively in any way. So I guess...
I think I look forward to it in a couple of ways. One, does it affect a woman more than it did a man, number one? And, and maybe it's really good to get out in front of it this early.
Oh, I think so.
I think it's a benefit. Get it out now.
Right.
long time before the election, so it's not a surprise. You've dealt with it, you've talked about it. Those people who can't get past it, they probably never will. And those who can, you know, or who are somewhere between, will judge you based on the things you're doing today.
Yeah, the merits and what she would bring to the office.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that would be unique, wouldn't it?
That would
Judging
be.
candidates
On
the
what they can
merits
do and what they
of
have
what they bring to
done.
the office.
Wow, that's novel.
That's novel. Politics. Whew.
I know, it's a whole other
You
show.
know, it's you know, you know, it's way worse than the NFL in terms of team loyalty when it comes to the teams and politics.
Yep.
And I think, you know, it's supposed to be that way for sports. I don't think it's supposed to be that way to manage our government and our country, and to allow everyone to participate equally and to receive the benefits back from our tax dollars shouldn't be based upon what team you're on. You know, if this party's in office, you know, then they don't care about the people who supported this other party. If, you know, Party B is in office, then they're really not going to do that much for those who supported people in Party B. But it's all of our tax dollars.
That's
and
right.
I think it should be, you know, there should be something different. And unfortunately, it just has never happened. It's idealistic maybe, but I believe in, and I'm going to say this, I think our community needs to look and vet at every candidate we want to support, not just vote in any particular way that you voted last time. I think people need to be looked at for who they are, what they're doing, what their platform is, and does it line up with what you believe is best for you and your community. So,
And can they lead?
And
It's
can they
important to be able to lead, as we're seeing.
yes. As we're seeing, not going too much down there. Okay, we've got some questions. So I've got one more announcement I want to make about Facebook's Messenger Kids. Child advocates call for a shutdown of that particular app. You know, some people are saying Facebook should shut down a messaging app that's aimed at children under 13 years old. After a report surfaced last week, the social network duped kids into spending their parents' money on online games. And I have to agree with that. Campaign for commercial-free childhood. And other advocacy groups are asking them to shutter Facebook's Messenger for kids. And if anybody's got an opinion, knowledge on it, please don't hesitate to put that question or comment into our Facebook. Because that's where we're going now, to our comments and questions on Facebook.
So the first question is, I graduate in May with a degree in film. How do I apply to Film Connx?
That is a great question. So congratulations on your graduation. And you can join us on www.filmconnx.com. You can join our social community.
Connx is C-O-N-N-X.
C-O-N-N-X. Thank you, Randy. It is. And you can apply to be considered as Film Connx crew, and we'll get back to you and let you know if you have the right amount of experience to be considered. And if not, keep you in mind for when you do so that you can be selected for roles when the time is right. That's the right thing.
And you know what? There might be a place. There, you know, just an idea. No charge for this. There might need to be a place for those who have, you know, for recent graduates, and that way, people in the industry, or the people somewhere in the whole stratum of the industry, they may not be coming to Georgia to do a big film, but the people who are doing small films, they may really be looking and much more interested because they may not have the budget for people, and it might be a way for them. You know, should be a section for the people who.
It's
are
as
like
though
new.
you teed that up just for me.
Uh-oh.
So in the social community, which we encourage folks to join regardless of how much experience they have, people can create their own profile.
Okay.
You can put a sizzle reel, you can put information on the productions that you've worked on, the ones that you're currently working on, who you've worked with, who your friends are. You can connect with them that way. So it's a lot like another social media app that we just mentioned, in that you can really find people that you know and connect with people that you should know, whether or not your experience, if you're just graduating or just coming into your own within the industry. Absolutely.
But there
Create
might
your
even need
profile.
to be a group, maybe a group within the group that's kind of for the
Yeah,
newbies.
and they actually, we have
Okay.
the ability for groups. So there can be a group
There can be a
of
group.
people who are recent graduates. They can find one another and be found, because you're
And be
right.
found. People-
Indies, folks that are doing films that are still in school themselves, need to find inexpensive talent.
Sometimes
So
free as
absolutely.
need be.
That's as inexpensive as it gets, yeah.
So that they can really.
That's right.
But that's how you might build your credit.
That is
You
right.
know, that indie film, gets well known or a little better known, and it becomes a credit for a person who
That's right.
wouldn't get picked up necessarily for a paid gig from some Hollywood studio because
Or
you
maybe
don't have
they
the
would.
credits.
Or
Or
you just
maybe
never
they
know.
would.
But
Okay.
come to our social community, be a part of the groups there, and when the time is right, be considered for one of our group positions.
Great. I think I'm going to join, so if they ever need a non-actor, hey, they won't have to look far. Here I am.
We
That's
found
my
you.
skill, the non-actor. Great. Any other questions from Facebook?
Yes. I'll just put this question on because you already kind of answered it. What is the turnaround time for people who become connected to other professionals in film? And what are the requirements to become a part of Film Connect?
So the turnaround time for being connected. So as soon as you create your profile, as soon as you sign up as a user, you can access the social community. So I'd say 2 minutes. You get an email and it approves you, and you log in and you're part of the community. And then the experience to be considered as an actual Film Connects crew member, you actually have to have some credits. And so it just depends. It's going to differ based on what your role is. So whether it's lighting or sound or engineering, we'll make the determination. We'll be back in touch. And if you aren't considered at that point, we'll give you an indication within your role of what we're looking for. But it's different for every different subcategory.
And I just thought about one too. I've got a friend, big shout out to my buddy Cedric P. He's an animator here in
Oh,
the city.
yeah.
And he's talked about how, all the animation work goes other places. Do you have a section for that?
We do. Bring on your animators, your gamers, your
Okay.
graphic designers. What we find is that many individuals who work or want to work on film also work in TV, also work in media departments because they have the skills, and those skills are needed elsewhere. And so they'll do roles in corporate places while they're waiting for a film job. So come check us out.
Is there a place if I'm indie and I'm putting together a film to find some money? You got
mean
that in there
film
yet?
financing?
Yeah, film financing.
Are
Anything
you
on that?
offering to become the film financier?
I was wondering if there was a place in there for
Not
a
as
person
yet.
who's putting one together.
Not
Just
as
a
yet,
question.
but you know what?
Yeah.
Because it's a social community, people can create the sub-communities they want to see. So if there are folks who want to talk about that, if they want to crowdsource, they can get to know other people who have the same interests and talk amongst themselves. So although it's not defined on the app, that's an interest, people can explore it.
Yeah, because I think from the local community, indies, people are looking for money.
Absolutely.
People are looking for money in everything. If it's
They
tech,
are.
if it's film, people are, again, some businesses, if you're a consultant, you're not looking for money. But
I think even consultants are
Even
looking for money.
consultants are looking for money.
Absolutely. And it's like, once again, about connecting people. So I
Okay.
think, our biggest strength is in knowing who's here. We've got so much talent here. It's time we all actually came together.
Use it.
Use what we've
in an easy
got.
way. And also, Culture Shock.
Yes.
My producer was kind enough to give me some more information. So you can go to cultureshock.tech to buy your tickets. It's from 5 to 11 p.m., January 31st. And it's at 585 Wells Street, Atlanta, Georgia, is where it will be. That is in the West End for those of you who live here. Those from out of town. Our Rapid Rail runs there. It's not far from downtown. Uber will get you there probably for $5 from downtown to the West End. So
And that's actually my birthday, so bring a cupcake.
you walking
I'm
around
gonna
with
end up
your
with like
dollar bills. You'll
18
be walking around with your dollar
cupcakes.
bills on. Well, great. I will look forward to seeing everybody there who's
Yeah.
in town. Hopefully, please come support. And I think you said the money's going right back into the companies that are going to be there.
That's right.
Again, as I said, we all need that money and technology. And we're going to wrap up for 2 more minutes, and then we're going to come back and close out. We'll do a quick 3-minute segment. So hang on, come back. We always have something special for the last 3 minutes. We'll see you then.
Did you know 30 million people have been diagnosed with diabetes and 75 million with high blood pressure? Let's talk about the importance of cleaning the blood. 50 years of scientific research have shown that garlic, when taken in the right amount, can help to lower blood pressure, sugar level, and cholesterol, all while providing energy. How? through cleansing, regulating, and replenishing the blood. Garlic alone is powerful, but for over 41 years, we've discovered that by combining garlic, aloe, and parsley together, we help the body to clean the blood even better. You can clean excess sugar, cholesterol, and waste from the blood and promote better circulation. So don't delay. Do it today. Get your bottle of Gap pills. Normally sells for $49.95, but if you use the promo word HEALTH, you get $10 off. Visit us at aloeheals.com or call us at 404-996-6942.
This week on The Kitchen.
Yeah. Yo, hold up. Alright.
We got Trans Lee.
I just want to answer what y'all asking.
We got Gray. DJ DiBiase.
Alright. Yeah. Hold up.
Chef Chrissy.
Yeah. Hold up.
Porcelain Gold.
For the Grammy, yeah, I thought you know. The kitchen got the fix, nigga, enjoy the show. Alright, well, that's the show, man. I thank y'all for coming. Then it was Thursday. Next time, I hope you get joining us, man.
God blessing me often. I'm still up in the apartment. I know they keeping my deposit. I got burn holes in the carpet.
All I know is old. All I know is bold. All I know is stoves. Look inside the door.
Party continues here on Tech Tuesday.
It does.
here with Carolyn Pitt from Film Connx. So we're going to wrap up here. This is our last quick final segment. I want to make sure that everyone knows how to keep up with you on social media. We'll repeat your website.
We will.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. So you can find Film Connx at www.film.connx.com. You can also find us at Film Connx on Instagram. I'm at Pitesque, Pittesque. That's my personal IG.
Slow that down.
I'll say it again, Pittesque. And also Film Connx, so at FILMCONNX. That's the New Yorker in me speaking fast. Slow her down.
Slow her down. Yeah, whenever you get a notice, because people miss one little...
Right, and it's over. You got to get all the right letters.
It's not a common word or not a common spelling.
Right.
The other thing we'll wrap up with is I'm Randy Fling on Instagram. I'm at Randy Fling5 on Twitter. I'm a little more active on Instagram, not that I'm that active as I should be. Of course, Rolling Out, where I am Rolling Out hashtag, and we're hashtag Rolling Out. We have Rolling Out events you can also follow on IG, Facebook. You're probably watching us on Facebook right now. And of course, rollingout.com. So we're excited that Super Bowl's here.
Yes.
We're closing some streets down, Northside Drive in front of the stadium.
Very exciting.
There are I'm going to a brunch, I think, on Friday. That's official. And I'm going to something, supposed to go to something Thursday night too. So, I think that's Culture Shock. Is that Thursday?
Culture Shock. You're going to come out to Culture Shock.
I'm definitely going to come there
Yes.
first, because the other events doesn't start until 9 p.m.
So you're going to come hang out with us
So
before.
I'm going
That's
to definitely
great.
come hang out at Culture Shock. A lot of friends I know that'll be there, and I think it'll be one of the more exciting events for us in the tech space
I think so.
this week. I also suggest I saw that for those fans of AC3, great event that we've had here for a long time, but for those who don't know, Paul Judge, who's a technology superstar here in the city, along with Ryan Wilson, over at the Gathering Spot, have become partners
They
now
have.
with AC3 to
Very
bring
exciting.
tech and culture, both from our community, into AC3 to make it a bigger, more comprehensive. I don't know if they're trying to be something else.
I think they're going to emphasize tech even more, which is really exciting and important, and of course music.
And music, They will be represented. I think it'll. I was excited when I saw it.
Same.
I'm excited for both of them because I've known both personally, as well as what it means for that conference and for that period of time here in the city. Because AC3 has a great reputation, been around a long time. I think this, once again, I said joint ventures is a way that we will scale ourselves. It will take AC3 bigger. It'll take everybody's brand bigger through joint venture. So, I'll leave on that note, actually, I think, unless there's anything I've forgotten, dear producer. Thank you. You know, think about how you can joint venture. I spoke with a lady earlier this week. She has a hugely successful business in one industry. She was able to tell her brother, who helped her start it, that he either needed to take an active role, quit his substantial job at the state, and run it as president, because she was moving on to some other things, or she would take his shares and sell them off and do what she was going to do with it. And he has become the president.
Fantastic.
And then she brought in a consultant from outside. And in 2017, this is a company that's one of the larger African-American businesses in the city. But in 2017, they were able to increase by 70%.
That's phenomenal.
But they did it by joint venturing.
That's
This is a
wonderful.
company that was already receiving awards 5 or more years ago as one of the most successful black businesses here in the city. But in a year and a half after he took over and they brought in a consultant, they realized there were ways to work. They increased really quickly. So
Fabulous.
that's the closing note.
Kudos.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being my guest today.
Really
I've
appreciate
enjoyed
it.
it. We'll
As
have to
well.
have you back on a pretty regular basis. We'll
Happy
bring
to
you
do
in
it.
with some other people that maybe are in the film industry when I have a group together
Mhm.
that everybody can talk about.
Would love that.